I mean, I think the most important thing is that you actually trust one another, right? That it like is actually like a mutually beneficial relationship that you're seeking to build. And so the way that we went about that in with WTF was basically like Laura, so Laura, who's my supervisor, and then Lucy Thurber, who was the first playwright to write one of the community works shows,
Mm.
she's from the area, like grew up in that in Western Massachusetts, feels a lot of like pride and connection for that area. Which I can say for sure the program would have flopped and failed if it weren't for her actual lived experience connection to the people of this part of the US. It like it just doesn't, it's all superficial and boring. If it was me coming in like, hey, I'm from California and I live in Brooklyn and I want to like do something with you guys, they'd be like, why should we trust you? Like you're a stranger to us.
Right.
And over time I've taught them that I want them to trust me and I trust them. But that is such a longer commitment than the fact that Lucy could just say, I grew up right there and I know about you.
Right.
The Williamstown Theater Festival is like sort of a very unique model, in that like there is like the sort of like big institution, right, that has its reputation in the area,
Right.
and it's been something that's like been kind of off limits, just mostly based on price.
Right.
Like the fact that like a ticket to see a show there is no less, like it's at least $75
Right.
to see one show. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, like in New York, that might be what people expect for it. They're willing to throw down $150 just for like one evening's events,
Mm.
right? But that isn't really the budget that folks are working with in this area. And so that had just like not been addressed. People were just like, no, that's fine. We want to do what we want to do. We're going to play with our friends and run away to the mountains for the summer and have, leave and like leave our mess for the people who live there year round to clean up. And so then I think because me and Laura and Lucy, who had that relationship with the area, but me and Laura were like, hey, we represent this big institution that you know about. We're here to say we're sorry that this has not been a welcome place for you. And we wish it had been.
Right.
And then people were like, well, yeah, I've always wanted to go there, but it's way too expensive. Or one time I went to a show and everyone was rude to me. Like the stories just like emerged,
Right.
and we were like, yep, that sucks. We wish that hadn't happened. And we're here to try to repair the relationships that we know have been bad in the past.
Right.
And I think that like that admission right at the front of building that relationship
Right.
was part of, what actually helped to build the trust. And
Mm.
then we had to stick to our word,
Yeah.
like, and we had to like continue to be, I just think that good whenever we're like, how do we strategize and how do we like do this? It's like, be a good friend, be a good person. Like, how do
Mm.
you build relationships in your life that you want to last? How do you treat a partner? How do you treat a family member that you really care about, a friend,
Mm.
right? You hold yourself accountable to promises you make to them. And I think that in business and nonprofits and institutions, like we think that like it's a whole other language that we have to speak,
Mm.
but it's not.
Right.
And we can just use the language we have to build strong relationships that matter to us,
Right.
and do that in our work,
That's amazing.
and maybe someone will pay us for it someday.